Defying the odds, how Black women entrepreneurs are revolutionizing business. Despite the system, welcome to the Soft Girl Era podcast, where we explore the journey from constantly grinding to finally grounding in joy, peace, softness, and self prioritization. I'm LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dolce, like sweet softness whispered in French. And I'm your guide from burnout to boundaries, from doing to being, from strong to soft. Today, I'm sharing revelations from my conversation with Kiyandrea Graham, a visionary whose work has fundamentally transformed how we understand success for Black women entrepreneurs. Kiyandrea isn't just researching business trends, she's igniting a revolution that challenges everything we thought we knew about power, success, and resilience. Her groundbreaking research and advocacy have created pathways where barriers once stood, empowering thousands of women to rewrite their entrepreneurial stories on their own terms. What struck me most about my conversation with Kiyandrea was a perspective that shatters everything we've been told about success in business. It's not just thought provoking, it's revolutionary. Despite persistent funding gaps and systemic barriers, where women entrepreneurs receive only 45% of their requested loan amounts compared to men's 55%. Black women owned businesses have outpaced market expectations by achieving a remarkable 32.7% increase in average revenues. Let that sink in for a moment. The very women facing the greatest obstacles in securing funding are demonstrating the most impressive growth. This isn't happening despite the challenges. It's happening because these challenges have forged unprecedented levels of creativity, determination, and community building. As Keandrea told me, when traditional doors remain closed, we don't just find windows, we build entirely new structures. This reminds me of Maya Angelou's wisdom. You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. The data from Keandrea's research proves that Black women entrepreneurs aren't just avoiding defeat, they're redefining victory on their own terms. During our conversation, Keandre emphasized three insights that I believe will transform how you think about business resilience and success. First, resilience drives results. Even in environments with unequal access to resources, Black women entrepreneurs are leading growth rates far above industry averages. This isn't about working harder in a broken system, it's about working smarter and creating new systems that honor our worth. Second, collective success trumps individual achievement. The most impactful progress comes from building ecosystems that support mentorship, networking, and shared opportunities. As Keandrea powerfully stated, we rise by lifting others. Third, visibility inspires action. Greater representation of successful Black women founders encourages new generations to pursue entrepreneurship despite existing barriers. When we see ourselves reflected in success stories, we begin to believe in possibilities we might never have considered. These insights aren't just theoretical, they're backed by real stories of transformation that Keandrea shared during our conversation. I was deeply moved by the story of a cohort of Black women business owners operating across various sectors in major US cities. These women face limited access to traditional financing, higher loan denial rates than their male counterparts, and a stark lack of venture capital backing. But here's where it gets interesting. Instead of giving up, they leverage community networks for alternative funding through crowdfunding campaigns. They sought mentorship through organizations like the Women's Business Enterprise National Council. They utilize digital platforms for marketing and sales in ways that maximize their limited resources. The result? A 32.7% increase in average revenues over recent years, despite these systemic obstacles. Many of these founders began as solopreneurs before scaling into employer firms by reinvesting profits into talent acquisition. They expanded operations nationally and created jobs within their communities. Most importantly, they demonstrated sustainable business models that inspire other underrepresented groups, contributing to the $3.9 trillion dollars generated collectively among all US based woman owned employer firms. This isn't just business success, this is revolutionary economic empowerment. Kiyandrea also shared the story of women led initiatives supporting female founders of color within urban entrepreneurial hubs such as Atlanta and Detroit. These women faced underrepresentation at leadership levels, with only 31.7% of leadership roles held by women and fewer promotions compared to male peers. For every 100 men promoted to manager, only 82 women of color received the same opportunity. In response, they created accelerator programs specifically tailored toward providing mentorship and networking opportunities exclusively designed around the unique needs of Black female founders. These efforts have increased the number of new woman owned firms daily, especially significant since Black women now account for nearly 9 out of 10 new woman owned companies launched each day. These accelerators were founded after recognizing persistent gaps in both funding availability and targeted support systems, which left many promising startups struggling to survive beyond early stage development. Their key accomplishments include launching dozens of successful startups led predominantly by Black women who have secured contracts with large corporate clients and government agencies while creating hundreds of jobs locally, regionally, and nationwide. The broader impact has been increased diversity within local economies, greater representation of minority voices at decision making tables, and a stronger sense of community empowerment overall. Another powerful story Kiyandrea shared was about tech savvy Black female entrepreneurs leveraging digital tools and global platforms to scale operations rapidly without reliance on traditional brick and mortar infrastructure. These women faced historically lower startup rates among Blacks versus whites, coupled with lower VC investment percentages and sector wide bias against minority led ventures, especially those headed by women. Their solution? They utilize e commerce, social media marketing, and automation to streamline customer acquisition processes. They built virtual teams distributed geographically, allowing for flexibility, cost savings, and scalability potential previously unattainable using conventional methods alone. This resulted in rapid expansion of customer bases, increased profitability, and the ability to compete effectively with larger established competitors despite initial resource disadvantages. Many participants started as side hustles, eventually transitioning to full time enterprises after proving concept viability in an online marketplace environment where they could reach audiences far beyond local markets, traditionally accessible through physical storefronts alone. They achieved national and international recognition, multiple award nominations, and press coverage highlighting their innovative approaches to problem solving and customer service excellence. Most importantly, they demonstrated the power of technology to level the playing field even for the smallest, most resource constrained startups, paving the way for future generations to follow similar paths towards success, regardless of background or location. What these stories reveal, as Kiyandrea so eloquently explained, is that Black women entrepreneurs aren't just surviving, they're thriving by reimagining what business success looks like. This brings me to a profound realization from my conversation with Kiyandrea that aligns perfectly with our soft girl era philosophy. True strength isn't about carrying every burden alone. It's about knowing when to rest, when to ask for help, and when to create communities of support. The entrepreneurs in these stories didn't succeed by working themselves to exhaustion or by sacrificing their well being on the altar of hustle culture. They succeeded by being strategic, by building networks, by prioritizing sustainability over burnout. As we navigate our own journeys, there's a powerful lesson here. We don't have to choose between success and softness. We can redefine success to include our well being, our joy, our peace. Keandrea shared an affirmation that I've been repeating to myself daily. My success is not measured by how much I can endure, but by how well I can thrive while honoring my boundaries. This is what dropping the superwoman cape looks like in practice. It's not about doing less, it's about achieving more by honoring ourselves in the process. I want to leave you with this challenge. What if the greatest revolution isn't just changing the system, but changing how we show up within it? What if our softness, our boundaries, our refusal to sacrifice our well being for success is actually the most disruptive act of all? The data is clear. The stories are compelling. Black women entrepreneurs are succeeding not by playing by the rules of a system designed without them in mind, but by creating new rules, new systems, new possibilities. So I ask you, what bold step will you take today? Whether reaching out for mentorship, joining an entrepreneurial network, or launching that idea you've been holding back to build momentum toward your own vision? What boundary will you set to protect your energy? What community will you build to support your dreams? The revolution isn't just about changing who has access to capital or who sits in the boardroom. It's about fundamentally reimagining what business success looks like, one that honors our humanity, our communities, and our well being. In the words of Audre Lorde, when I dare to be powerful, to use my strength in the service of my vision, then it becomes less and less important whether I am afraid. Our world doesn't need more entrepreneurs burning themselves out on the altar of hustle culture. It needs more visionaries who understand that true power comes not from exhausting ourselves, but from honoring our boundaries, building our communities, and reimagining success on our own terms. The revolution is here, and it's being led by Black women who understand that their softness is not a weakness, it's their superpower. Will you join them